Why you'll never end up with a conservative Paraguayan woman. There is a trend happening here in Asunción, Paraguay. It is a trend that is based on foreigners that will never find a conservative Paraguayan. The number of reasons why this is happening. The lack of success in the dating world here in the heart of South America leads to many expats packing their bags and actually heading back home or to a different region where relationships are easier to come by. Paraguay's relationship approach is different to the rest of the world. I'm referring to dating a conservative Paraguayan woman, someone who is aligned with the church. You may also call her a religious woman. These types of women are also in short supply here, and they are very difficult to get a hold of because they are very selective with who they spend time with who they allow into their lives. Something that I've noticed, which you can really see when looking at expat groups, when looking at how people are discussing this topic online, they're really embracing the Northern Hemisphere dating approach, which is a total failure, which leads to a destructive family culture. It leads to oftentimes divorce. It leads to unhappiness pretty much. Paraguayan culture is nothing like that. It is unfair and it is definitely not helpful to compare Paraguayan culture with American culture, or Paraguayan culture with French culture, Paraguayan culture with Australian culture. Even though these two have some things in common, they're drastically different. Something that people don't understand is when they come to Paraguay, they oftentimes continue with their dating habits. So instead of actually making an effort to fit into the society and follow patterns that lead to a more prosperous relationship and ultimately a marriage that's going to last, people end up replicating the same relationship mistakes that they have made in their native countries as well as the other countries they have dated in, which naturally leads to insanity down the road. It is so wrong, and it's actually the reason why I'm personally seeing expats of all ages fail at dating Paraguayan women, dating conservative Paraguayan women. Now, you can date a modern day woman in a matter of days, and you can get certain types of results and goals accomplished, I'm sure, but you're not going to find a person that truly loves you for who you are, which is something that you might be after. Now, something's got to change. And what's got to change is your identity. And that creates conflict with your inner self. Changing your identity requires, first of all, changing your belief system. And unless you're unwilling to do that, it's probably better not to start dating here because you're not going to get the result that you want. You're going to repeat the same pattern, the same cycle, the same mistakes that you did in the other countries where you dated. And you know where this led you to. You didn't really have a lot of success, and you certainly didn't secure true love, a partner that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. What you have to do, if you're an atheist, okay, someone who does not believe in God, if you're not religious, then dating a conservative woman is just not going to work. She's not going to say yes to you. Probably under no circumstances, no amount of money will matter. What's most important to a conservative woman is that you're conservative yourself. And that's a drastic thing to ask for from someone that came from a culture that is the polar opposite of how Paraguayan culture operates and treats its very close members, okay? And for a Paraguayan woman, her family is everything. If you want to win her, you have to win her family. Because if you marry her, you marry the whole family. You don't just marry her, you marry the whole family. That's how things work here, right? And it used to be like this in the US, Canada, I'm sure. It used to be like this in Austria. It used to be like this in the UK. And it definitely is still the case in a lot of Asian countries. You know, so if you have dated in the Far East, you know what I'm talking about. You marry her, you marry her family. Now here, this is also true with a clear distinction. When you marry a Paraguayan woman, you do marry her family, but they follow the Bible, they follow the church. So the moment they marry you, a new family is being created, which is predicated on you and her. You are a new family together. So since a conservative Paraguayan woman follows Catholicism, Christianity, she leaves her family, not in the sense that she will no longer care for her family, will no longer be spending time with her family on Sundays. No, all of this will happen, trust me. However, she will leave her family in the sense that you become her top priority, which is not the case in many cultures in this day and age today. So there is a sacrifice for her to start a new life with you, which is going to happen if you prove to her that you are religious enough, that you have the patience to wait for however long it takes, a few months or a few years, sometimes before anything happens. If you have that kind of patience, if you have the guts to actually commit yourself to a prolonged period of time, a prolonged period of waiting and building a solid foundation that can eventually form into a marriage that will last for a lifetime. If you're willing to do that, then I have good news for you. You are going to have amazing success in Paraguay's relationship world. You're going to find the person that's going to be with you for the rest of your time on this planet. However, if the mentality doesn't change, if you want instant gratification, if you want instant results, then first of all, you're never going to get to know a conservative woman like on a deeper level, because she's just not going to go all in with you, and she's certainly not going to get intimate with you unless she actually feels that you are the real deal. Now, if we look at this, and there have been a lot of studies done on this subject, a relationship that is not of this world has a much greater chance of lasting and succeeding than a relationship that is of this world. Now, you might be asking yourself, what the hell is he talking about? Well, in a marriage, in a relationship, you cannot have ego. You have to become one. That's what it means. You have to become one if you marry, because you merge your spirits together, and when you die, when you pass, your combined spirit, your new spirit, will rise up to heaven. That's what is meant by becoming one body. Now, this is totally different than probably anything you've heard from anyone in recent days, recent years. However, it's really the only key to success in this world. Now, I personally know many conservative women that would rather stay single. They have never been with anyone unless that person can prove to them that they are the person that they can imagine themselves being with for the rest of their lives. And there's a long process involved to create that kind of confidence. You're not going to find these women on dating apps. They don't use dating apps, and those women also don't speak English. So this really states two key challenges that you have to overcome. The first obvious challenge is, of course, language barrier that you're always going to have when living in a new country. So that's the first one you have to overcome. Unless God has blessed you with the Spanish language at birth, where you were able to obtain it at school, then you're already in a better situation than most people. But that itself is not enough to get you to the next level and to get you the relationship that you truly want for yourself. The second component that you truly need is to believe in God. And if you're not conservative now, or if you were an atheist before, it's not important who you were before, but who you want to be now and in the future. So if you can change your beliefs, the chances of you scoring are actually great. And this is not easy. This requires tremendous self-discipline and a change of your identity, which is difficult because you will start seeing yourself drastically different from how you saw yourself just a few short months or a few short years ago. Your whole identity will change, and only with that change of identity you're going to have the relationship that you want that's going to last. If not, you're going to divorce once, you're going to divorce twice, you're going to divorce 3 times. You're probably going to keep divorcing people because you don't see marriage as it is created in the eyes of God. You see marriage as a game, or you see marriage as a way to protect yourself from all kinds of outcomes, which is also totally wrong in my opinion. When you marry someone, you have to combine everything, or you're just probably not going to have the level of marriage that will get you the gratification that God really wants for you. This is difficult, and you might think this is crazy talk, especially if you've never been exposed to this idea, and that's perfectly fine. I'm only telling you how conservative women think here. They might think very differently in the United States these days. They certainly think very differently in many European countries that I've been to. However, Paraguayan culture is also very family oriented. So there's another point that I want to touch on. So just leaving the language barrier and the belief in God, and if you have to convert, do all of that, because that's going to help you get into the right cycles and also eventually open up a door that you never thought would open up for you. What's really important for a Paraguayan is, of course, her family, the connection she has with her family, and most important, that you can see yourself as being part of her past family, but also the family that's actually still part of her today. Because even if she marries you, yes, you are going to start your own family. You're going to live into your own home. Yes, you're going to become her top priority. Yes, all of these things will happen. However, Paraguayan culture is deeply rooted in the preservation of family values. So on Sundays, you're going to be spending time with her family. Maybe not every Sunday, sometimes you might be traveling, but most of the times you're going to be spending time with her family. That family arm is so important to her overall happiness and also your overall happiness, because if you will help her get what she wants, what happens as a natural consequence is that she will also help you get what you want. And that's the key in any relationship, to be able to sacrifice, to be able to become one spiritually, physically, mentally. And if that happens, you're on your way to so much good in life. Now, if you've been telling yourself that you will never end up with a conservative Paraguayan woman, think again. It is possible, but it requires tremendous efforts. It requires you to change your identity. And you also need to find your connection to God. The connection that you have with God is everything. And it's the best foundation that you can create for a lasting and happy marriage. If you're interested in moving to Paraguay and building the conservative life that you always wanted for yourself, we offer a special promo this month. Our Plan B Paraguay package is on sale. You save $550 this month. The same is also true for our relocation package. It's also on sale. If you secure it before the end of the month, you get a $1,000 discount. Plus, all of our packages come with a free event ticket to Nomad Elite now, happening on November 4th and 5th, 2025. I really hope this video was helpful and that it was eye-opening. If there's anything that I can help you with personally, please don't hesitate to post your thoughts in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you and welcoming you to this conservative country in the heart of South America. Take care.